YouTube, how's it going? NateGreat321 back again, and today we're going to be taking a look at my top 5 nostalgic Nintendo 64 games. I have a lot of fond memories of the Nintendo 64 growing up, despite the fact that I never owned one until a couple of years ago. Growing up, I had the PlayStation, and I really enjoyed that. Some of my favorite games of all time came out on that, but pretty much all my friends I knew had a Nintendo 64. Either that or they had a younger sibling or someone that had a Nintendo 64. Whoever's house I went to, they had one there. The system officially launched in North America in September of 1996, but it wasn't until Christmas of that year probably, and kind of spilling over into January and February of 1997, that I started to see friends of mine get that system. I've spent a lot of time with this system over the years, playing it at friends' house, watching friends play it. It's definitely a big part of my gaming history growing up, so it was easy for me to think of a lot of games, that bring back nostalgic memories of that time playing the system. What was difficult was paring it down to just a top 5, which is what I've attempted to do here. Very tough decision, and there are a couple titles on here that I know a lot of you are going to like that I had to leave off the list. I know, I am in no way saying that Ocarina of Time is a bad game. It's a very, very good game. So is Star Fox 64, Perfect Dark, Banjo-Kazooie, Rogue Squadron, but none of those games are going to be on this list, and that's because this list is about my top 5 nostalgic games, games that bring back childhood memories, playing the system at friends' houses and things like that. So while these games are good, and if I did do a top 5 overall N64 games, they might be on there somewhere. What I'm going to talk about right now is just top 5 nostalgic games, games that bring back childhood memories. So it may differ a little than a typical top 5 N64 list. This one's a little more personal to me. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get it started with number 5.
It's me, Mario!
Number 5 for me is what for many people was their first gaming experience on the Nintendo 64, and that's Super Mario 64.
Dear Mario, please come to the castle. I have baked a cake for you. Yours truly, Princess Toadstool. Peach.
Mario 64 wasn't the first Nintendo 64 game I saw. I guess that would be Shadows of the Empire and Wave Race. But Mario 64 was among the first, and what I remember most about it as a kid was the music and the really vivid, bright colors, and that's what stands out to me about it today even. Another big thing about this game for me was the analog stick and the way that you moved around the environment. I can't remember any game prior to this that didn't feel like it was still kind of on rails. I mean, there were PlayStation games that felt open, but you were still limited to kind of a predetermined path. In this game, it really felt like with the stick you could just go anywhere and do anything, and it sounds dumb now, but at the time it was kind of confusing to me, like trying to figure out how to use the analog stick and everything. But I mean, it's second nature now, but at the time it was something really revolutionary. I don't think Nintendo could have picked a more perfect launch title for the system. It really showed off the graphical capabilities, it used the new controller really well, everything about it was just the right kind of game you wanted to have at the start of a system's lifespan. And it's a real milestone in gaming to a lot of people, and myself personally. And for that reason, it is ranked at number 5 on my top 5 nostalgic Nintendo 64 games.
Stupid logo! Yeah, that's better.
Number 4 is a game that some might argue I probably shouldn't have played as a kid, but that's Conker's Bad Fur Day. And to any of you out there who complain that Nintendo games are always aimed at kids and they're too childish, you need to give this game a play. One thing this game is infamous for, and probably what made it somewhat appealing as a youngster, I guess, is its mature rating, and it definitely earns it. There's a lot of foul language, although most of the extreme stuff's bleeped out. There's sex jokes, jokes about drinking, a lot of crude humor. And, compared to a lot of things you see in movies and TV, it's on par with that. It might even be a little less than that. But to see this on a Nintendo console was really something back in the day. But if you look past the crude humor on the surface, what you have underneath is a really solid platforming game. The game was made by Rare, the same people behind Donkey Kong 64 and Banjo-Kazooie. They're arguably the best third-party developer on the Nintendo 64, and this game definitely holds up with the best the system has to offer. And on top of an already really solid single-player experience, you get awesome multiplayer in this game, which is where I think the Nintendo 64 really shines and where a lot of my experience with the system comes in, because, you know, I played it at a friend's house. So majority of the time I was playing multiplayer games, and this was one of the ones that we played a lot. What you're seeing now is one of the game modes called Beach, where it's kind of like a D-Day, World War II invasion type thing, where it's 2 versus 2. It's just so much fun. There's a lot of different modes, some variety, so you get great multiplayer on top of an already awesome single-player experience, which is what makes this game so well-rounded. And it still goes for a lot of money today on eBay. People really want this game, and, you know, it's pretty obvious why.
My beautiful hive is gone. Oh, I'll never see it again.
If you can find a copy at a relatively good price, I would definitely recommend it. This is a game you can't miss on the N64, and that's why it's number 4 on my top 5 nostalgic N64 games.
Say, little fella, you better get this fat-ass bitch off from my back pronto.
Out of my top 5, the one game that I probably put the most actual hours and playtime into would have to be the Mario Party series. And I know that's cheating a little bit because it's 3 games, but I couldn't pick one favorite because I played them all so much. I think 2 is probably my favorite, but the footage you're seeing is from Mario Party 1. It's the only one I have currently. I think the best thing about Mario Party is its simplicity and the fact that anyone can pick up and play it and do well at it and even win at it. There is a small learning curve to some of the mini games, and you can get good at it with practice, but for the most part a lot of the stuff comes down to chance, which, while frustrating sometimes, I think in the end is really good. It's really open and inviting, and I think that's why a lot of people have good memories of this series growing up, because whether you played games a lot or not, whether you were young or old, you could pick up this, you know, game and play it, and it was a very fun time. You know, when you look at it, it's just really an interactive board game with little tiny mini games thrown in here or there. But for some reason the formula really works. I mean, even if you look today, these kind of mini game formats of games are really, really popular. And it's hard to explain why it works, but it really just does. The game does take a long time to play, but if you have the time, I definitely recommend popping this in the N64, gathering up 3 of your friends, and, you know, playing this for old time's sake. It's just an awesome game. Brings back a lot of childhood memories for me, and that's why it's number 3 on my top 5. If there's any game introduction that makes me feel like I'm 10 years old again, it's GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64. If you were around when this game came out, you couldn't avoid it if you tried. Anybody's house that had a Nintendo 64 in it had a GoldenEye, and any gathering of friends that you had inevitably ended up with everyone playing GoldenEye, and that's because it was just such a fun experience and so different, especially on the console, and having the 4-player capabilities just made it such a great first-person shooter. Everyone I know has great memories of this game. I mean, you're looking at my favorite multiplayer map right now. It's Facility. Everyone had their favorite character, everyone had a favorite map, everyone had a favorite weapon set they would use, slappers only, proximity mines, moonrakers. I mean, it goes on and on. I could go on forever about this game, and it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm just out of college, and even in college, people were playing this at parties and things like that. This game has endeared itself that long to people of my generation. I mean, today, Call of Duty isn't just part of gaming culture, it's part of, you know, popular culture. Pretty much everyone at least has an idea what Call of Duty is, and without GoldenEye, who knows if Call of Duty or first-person shooters on consoles would be where they are today. People have been clamoring for ages to get this game on Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, Virtual Console, and eventually we got the Wii remake, which was pretty well received. But to me, you lose something by playing it that way. Now, on the one hand, the remake is good for people who might not have experienced the game back when it came out. The refined graphics and the controls make it a little more approachable to today's audience. But if you really want to get a feel for why this game was the phenomenon that it was when it came out, you need to sit in front of a TV, 4-player split screen, with the N64, 3 of your buddies in the same room with you, and play it that way, because there's just something to it you really need to experience it, and that's why it's number 2 on my list. So before I give you number 1, let's go ahead and do a quick recap of number 5 through 2. Number 1 on my list is none other than Mario Kart 64, and to this day I can pick up this game any day, anytime, no matter how I'm feeling, and I can thoroughly enjoy it. This game never gets old to me. This game really wasn't as revolutionary in its gameplay like GoldenEye was, or Super Mario 64 was, but for what it is, a fun kart racing game, it just does everything so well. It's just such a great, polished multiplayer experience, back then and even still today. A lot of people in the retro community aren't very fond of this game because they prefer the Super Nintendo version, and they think they kind of dumbed it down with this version, that they made it too easy to win, that it's more based on luck, you know, with like the blue shell and things like that, and that it's too easy to catch up in first place. But I would argue against that. I think that in one sense that makes it more open and accessible to people like Mario Party was, and I think that makes for an overall better experience on a whole. But there is a lot of skill involved with this. You know, you can play this a lot, get very good at it, and win consistently. So it's not all based on luck, but there is that little level of luck in there that makes it a little more easily playable to people who maybe aren't as experienced with it. You know, and ultimately, I think that random aspect, the fact that you're never safe in first place, really added a lot of tension and excitement to every race. You know, as a kid, I can remember on the last lap, everyone standing up and like jumping up and down and yelling and stuff. And it was a really like exciting experience, and even today it's like that. And I think ultimately that was a good design choice on Nintendo's part to, on the one hand, make it easy and make it so that a lot of people can pick up and play it, but on the other hand, that also makes it exciting that everyone's, you know, tightly packed together at the front. So I think that it just makes for such a fun multiplayer experience. So it's a no-brainer. If you have an N64 now, you have to pick this game up. It's one of my all-time favorite games, period. And it is number 1 on my top 5 nostalgic Nintendo 64 games. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked this look at my top 5 nostalgic N64 games. I know it was fun for me to look back and reminisce on childhood memories with the system. Feel free to leave a comment if you have similar experiences with these games or other games that you enjoyed. I always enjoy reading you guys' comments. Feel free to like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, you know, check out my other videos and feel free to do that if you like to. I hope you guys enjoyed this video type. It's something a little different than the usual pickups video. These take longer to, you know, capture and edit and all that stuff, so I don't put them out as often, but I really do enjoy the whole process and the putting out the final product. So I hope you guys appreciate the effort, and if you like it, let me know if you want to see more of this type of video in the future, and I'll definitely try to, you know, get those out. So thanks for watching, guys, and for now, Nacrate321 signing out.